Yay, yay. What's up, YouTube family? It's your friendly neighborhood partner, Mr. TreeTvRadio, coming at you live and direct. And we got the Liss Giles show live and direct right here on Tree TV. This is one of my correspondents out there in Australia, and she's going to bring us up to date on all the stuff that's going on out there through this crisis. What's up, Liss? How you doing?
Hi, Ken, and hi, Tree, and hi, everybody else, everybody out there. We're hanging in here over here, but things are starting to slowly fall apart over here, like they are in the rest of the world. I mean, we were the first idiots to buy all the toilet paper 3 weeks ago, and then that particular moronic virus spread worldwide, but it started here in Australia. So we must be bigger panickers than everyone else about toilet paper. So that has then caused a avalanche of other issues that's then transcended to other countries like the US, where people are just buying out the stores. And both the President of the United States and the Prime Minister of Australia, for example, have both said there's no shortage of medications or groceries or any food supplies. There's no issue or anything with that. This virus is not stopping the supply of things. So all those people out there that have gone and stocked up on a 3 to 6 month supply of toilet paper, then paper towel, then hand sanitizer, and now food, are really causing massive issues for all the people who haven't gone and stocked up. I had a situation yesterday where one of my best friends is here in Australia from Denver. She came over here to have a holiday for a couple of months. Then she was going to New Zealand. And suddenly our borders closed 2 days ago, and America's borders closed as well to Australia. So she's stuck here. So she had to quickly fly from Melbourne to my house in Newcastle, which is just north of Sydney, for anyone who doesn't know where I am, and come and stay with me, because otherwise she'd run out of money. And it's just one of those things where now I have an extra person to feed and look after in my house unexpectedly. Not that I'm upset to see my best friend, because, hell, we haven't seen each other for a year since I was in Denver last year. So that part's lovely. But it's the unexpected expense and the stress and every other thing that goes with all of that. And she doesn't look like she can get out of our country now until June.
Oh, wow.
Possibly June. They're locking down the borders. Then I've got a girl that works for me. She has been a director of a summer camp in Raleigh, North Carolina for 4 years. She was due to leave Australia on the 2nd of May to go to the summer camp to be the director again. It's what she does every year. And be there till September. That's what she does every year. And yesterday I was with her in a staff meeting working out what we're doing about COVID-19. And she got the call from the embassy, the US embassy, to say her visa, her working visa for it, is actually cancelled until further notice. They haven't even given her a date where they're going to let it come back. So everybody that's here in my country is now stranded. Everybody in America that maybe wants to come back to Australia is now officially stranded in America too. So that makes it difficult for people who, you know, are in one spot and need to get to another because they've just shut the borders down. Qantas, our biggest airline for our country, has suspended all flights and fired 20,000 staff yesterday.
What? Wait, hold up. They fired 20,000?
20,000 yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's happening, people. But I'll give you some statistics. I've just got to pull them up on my phone.
Okay.
This is Australia and America. I'm not going to get into the politics. I'm just going to talk numbers. Okay, everyone out there, because I'm not talking political. Our Prime Minister handled the bushfire situation when our country was on fire back in December and January. He handled that so badly. He stopped emergency protocols from being used. He stopped different things that he could have invoked because all of our fire chiefs and fire commissioners and all that were trying to have meetings with him, and he'd cancel meetings on them. And if that way, I guess if he didn't hear the information, he didn't have to do anything about it. What happened in our country was unprecedented. So many people died. So many people lost their homes, which they still don't have homes. Those people are displaced and don't have their homes. He handled that crisis badly. You would have thought he would have learned a lesson from that, but apparently not. So our Prime Minister, just like Trump, hasn't acted quickly enough. So we are all, in America and Australia, are about to go into a Italy-type scenario in the next 2 weeks. Mark my words. Look at it on your calendar, people. In 2 weeks. I don't know if people out there know what I do for an actual day job. I run 4 childcare centres, so I get government emails all the time. For 2 weeks now, our government has been saying, prepare, and this is plan B. Prepare, this is plan B. I actually thought they were going to close us all on Wednesday, and our Prime Minister came out and he said, no, not closing the schools and childcare services, because that's going to interfere with millions and millions of people who need to still work. We need essential services to run and this and that. He didn't close the schools. It's an epic mistake. Same as Trump should have closed your schools earlier than has happened. And it's only been your governors and your state authorities that have then eventually closed your schools. Now Trump's on board. Now what Trump's invoking is good. I can't fault him, and it seems like our Prime Minister's finally getting it. But I was in America for Christmas, and in January. I was in your country when the Chinese had this outbreak, and it was really, really bad. So I can say with absolute certainty, my government and your government knew about what was going on in China way back in December. They knew. They can't say they didn't know. They can't say they didn't know how bad it was. I could see it on TV while I was in America.
Yeah, that's true.
So you know, we were watching it, let alone what the government gets the extra additional information. Though this is a slide, I'm going to read to you some statistics for our country, and you think about it. Your country has 100 times more people in it than ours does, 100 times. So therefore, the virus doesn't discriminate. We're all human hosts to the virus. What I'm about to tell you will be what happens in America on 100 times level. And I'm not trying to start panic. I'm trying to get people to actually know the stats. This is mathematical equation stuff. This is not my opinion. This is not me trying to upset anybody. I think people need to take this more seriously, and the self-isolation thing and the distancing of people who aren't in your immediate family is absolutely key. On Monday, on the news here on Monday, today is Friday morning in Australia. I'm currently about to go into a work meeting in 20 minutes, so it's Friday morning. On Monday night, the growth of cases in Australia was at 370 on Monday. By today, they predicted we would have 750, so that number would double in 4 days. By next Tuesday, they reckon we will have 1,500. That's the 750 doubled again. By the next Saturday, which is in 1 week's time, it would be 3,000. That is 4 times what they're predicting it to be today. Originally. I'm just getting myself mixed up. 6,000 cases for the 1st of April in Australia, and 12,000 cases by the 4th of April. The 4th of April. Monday last week we had 370. By the 4th of April, the predictions are we'll have 12,000.
Wow.
You have to times that by 100, because you have 100 times more people than we do.
So we have 120,000 over here?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Across the country, not in one spot. So when people over here saw in Florida 2 days ago all those spring breakers partying and ignoring the health officials and going, we're not going to get the virus, we're cool, we're not going to stop doing what we're doing. Mark my words, in 2 weeks there will be a cluster of that virus to do with all those people who got together and thumbed up their noses at the authorities about staying in and having, self isolation and human distancing and all that stuff. There'll be a cluster formed from that because they did it for 2 days. The virus doesn't give a crap where we all live. I feel sorry for the Chinese, because people in China and Chinese people all over the place, and hell, even like I've heard some Vietnamese have been getting beaten up and being called Chinese, and they're going, I'm not even Chinese, I've just got slanty eyes. I think it's horrible that people are attacking Asian people. This virus is an American virus. Anyone can Google this and find out the information. It has 100,000 patents on the virus that belong to somebody in America. It is owned by a corporation. I can't remember the name of the corporation, but it's an American virus. It obviously was in some sort of lab thing in China, and it got out. Why it got out, was it deliberate, was it accident? We'll never know. But this is not an accident as in somebody did this. Why did they do it? I have no clue. The fact that it does fall in an election year for America is kind of weird, but it started in China. So I don't know if China was that motivated to cause a ruckus in America. People are always going on, oh, but it's all about us. And I'm like, I'm sorry, America, not the whole world thinks you're the most important country in the world. And this has disrupted production and everything else in China too. So why would the Chinese deliberately let a virus get out that has disrupted their lives as much as it has? The crazy part is, because we're such world travelers these days, that virus spread so fast and now it's all over the world. Italy has now surpassed, as of last night, my time, this morning American time, Italy has now surpassed China in the number of deaths.
Wow.
Italy is a hot bed and mess. And the reason it's so bad is because they didn't self-isolate quickly enough. And this is what I'm saying. America and Australia, we have followed the trajectory of Italy. And so I'm saying in 2 weeks' time, shit's really going to hit the fan in both our countries. It really is. Now, as a childcare provider, by law, we have to stay home. But we have put a statement out yesterday to everyone and said, if you do not need essential childcare, please don't use us. So our numbers are down to about a quarter of what we normally have, because most people are now trying to work from home or just not use childcare. They're making other arrangements so that we're not in that close proximity, because this is the crazy part. They're telling us you've got to keep 1.5 meters between you and the next person. That's like 2 arm lengths. But how the hell do you do that when you're caring for children? I have to transport children from one school to the site where we have childcare. How are we supposed to put them in a bus and have 1.5 meters between each other? It's not practical. So therefore it doesn't happen. They're all sitting in classrooms for the day, and everybody knows in a classroom there's only so much space, so they're not 1.5 meters apart. So, I mean, America is actually doing the right thing by cancelling all the lessons across America. Australia still hasn't done that. So our Prime Minister is getting slammed for not closing schools, but he's not closing schools and childcare, because as soon as he does that, half of our country is just going to stop. That's going to be a massive bill for them to cover. They've told people like me who run services, if they stop childcare, as in they're forcing my business to stop, they will cover my staff's wages. They haven't told us the period of time, but they've just said we'll get government assistance just to pay our staff wages. So that's a relief to someone like me. I don't have to suddenly be pulling money out of the air that I don't actually have. My staff were getting very nervous. I have a staff of 20. They were getting very nervous about what was to come. It's all very uncertain. And so that hearing that information from our government the other day was reassuring. There's going to be, packages to help small businesses, services that are forced to close because the government shuts you down and all that kind of thing. And Trump's doing something very similar over in America. So they're doing what they can. I find it interesting, though, that all of America has bagged the crap out of Bernie Sanders about his Medicare for all and his let's get the money from all the corporations, and instead of putting it back into business, putting it into, tax stuff for people to, get a bit back from the government. The concept that Bernie Sanders is actually talking about is the concept that Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Norway, all of those countries are based on. Our government is not allowed to give all of our taxpayer money to big corporations and then do deals with big corporations for them to then own the rights to things over here. So our pharmaceutical, for example, our drugs over here are 1/4 of the price that they are in America, because in America your corporations are allowed to charge whatever they want to charge the consumer because the government allows it, and then the government and the company get the profits and then put it back into government and the company. Over here, that it's not allowed. Our government says this is a reasonable price to charge. You can't charge our consumer any more than this, and we will subsidise a small gap, but they put limits on how much companies can charge in our country, and then they subsidise what we have to pay out of pocket. And then Medicare for all type scenario. So we can go anywhere in our country and get a test for COVID-19, and I know a couple of people who have, for free. There's no issue, there's no problem. Our country, before this even started, they already had 300,000 testing kits ready to go. 300,000. So when America didn't have any kits, the World Health Organization offered test kits to America back in February, I think. It could have even been January. And the American government said, no, thank you for the World Health Organization testing kits, which half the rest of the world's got, and said, we want to produce our own. Do you know why they did that? They did that because they wanted to make it about money. So then, instead of using kits that were already out there and available and free to your country, they said, nope, we're going to make our own. So they made their first round and the kits failed. Something happened and they weren't working. So then there's been a delay in the kits being made the second time round. It's a massive mess of epic proportions of how it's all played out over there. And this has got nothing to do with politics, as it were. I'm not saying I'm pro-Democrat or I'm anti-Trump or vice versa. What I'm saying is the facts and the rollout of all this. This is what's happened, and this is why it's about to go belly up real fast in the next 2 weeks. I am not sleeping properly because of all of the responsibilities I have. Going to the shops and having to be on rations for everything is so stressful. For my family, we probably have 2 weeks worth of toilet paper at the moment, and that's about it. You can go to a supermarket now as of 2 days ago and you can get one bag of toilet paper if it's in the store. Apparently Australia's purchased 7 times more than what we normally buy in a regular week at the moment, up until 2 days ago when they've now put rations on everybody in Australia. People were purchasing 7 times their normal shop. Someone like me, I am so busy running all of my centres, all of the government meetings and webinars that I'm required to attend as a childcare provider, trying to work out what we're going to do with the school holidays coming up here near Easter, whether we're open, we're not open. We've got 1,000 families in my services freaking out about what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. So I'm just on the phone or in meetings all day, every day. I haven't had an opportunity to go to the shops the moment that the truck arrives and go get the stuff off the pallet and all that stuff. I haven't had that opportunity to do that all the time because I'm required to be somewhere else often for my job. So it's been really frustrating for a person like me. I do have a couple of weeks worth of things in my house, but not everything that you normally take for granted that you can pick up. So if the toilet paper situation doesn't slow down here now that the limits are in, I might have a situation where I have a family of 5 and we're in trouble and don't have enough toilet paper, which is just so annoying and inconvenient. I've seen the photos all over social media of people in America where they've got trolleys and trolleys and trolleys of toilet paper. So I'm thinking, if we had 7 times the consumption from the stores of it here, it must be like 10 times over there, because they're actually walking out with more toilet paper there than they did over here. And those people are so freaking selfish, because they're not... How much toilet paper do you need to be ahead? Even if you're going to social isolation, you're only in social isolation for 2 to 4 weeks.
These Americans are just ridiculous with this booty paper. You know, you don't need that much booty paper. You need to...
But they are here. They are here too. And because the thing was, it started off with toilet paper. That was 3 weeks ago. That started. The next week, it was paper towel, tissues, any hand sanitizer that was left. But hand sanitizer was hard to get at that point anyway. Then it crossed over to flour, sugar, rice, coffee,
bread,
condoms. Condoms. We sold out the country. Our country currently has no condoms, and the condom producers are scrambling to make more condoms. And I'm like, why are we buying all the condoms? What's your normal schedule of protection? Oh, well, you're going out on a screw fest in a couple of weeks, so it's social isolation time. I don't know. It's so strange. So then there's been a rush on that. Then there's been a rush on feminine hygiene products. Then there was a rush on shampoo, conditioner, soap. Suddenly you couldn't get soap anywhere. And that's essential in this, because if anything else, washing your hands for 30 seconds is how you ensure that you don't have germs on you. But it has to be for 30 seconds. It's so strange. We don't wear masks, and we're not wearing gloves in our job because there are none. You can't get them. You can't get hand sanitizer too. We have a stockpile in our services that we're on using for absolute necessity. But hand washing you can do, and we still have soap and all that to do all that. So hand washing is key. We're hand washing all the time. Every minute or two we're hand washing. We're wiping down benches with hot soapy water because we can't even get disinfectant wipes anymore to wipe benches over, so we have to use hot soapy water. It's really crazy the way people have reacted to this. They're not thinking about what's logical. I mean, you're still going to get coronavirus even if you've got 6 months supply of condoms. You will still catch the virus if you're exposed to it. But I'm not thinking you're going to want to have a lot of sex if you're having trouble breathing to begin with anyway.
Exactly.
So, they're insane.
Or maybe they figure it's the end of the world and they want to leave out going on that last nut. That good feeling.
Hell, I'm all for really great sex too, but if I'm struggling to breathe because I've got a virus that attacks your lungs, I don't think I'm going to be up for it so much. So it's just so strange. But that's the thing about this virus. Whoever created this virus, and it was a created thing, it didn't come from bat soup. That's the cover story. If you Google the virus, you will see it's been around for a long time. It has a couple of different forms. That's why they're calling this one COVID-19. That's the particular strain that's out, but the coronavirus has multiple forms. It originally did come from wild animals. It originally did. That's where they found it. But the reality is it's been put into a lab, made a little bit nastier, I'd say, and then somehow it got out. We'll never know how. We'll never know if it was deliberate or not deliberate. I have my own personal opinions, but that doesn't matter right now. The thing about it is it's designed to actually immobilize your lungs, and that's why so many people are dying. If you've got any health issues or you're old, your lung function isn't as great as when you're young. But what has come out this week from all the research that's being done while this is all unfolding by all the virologists is that they're saying young people can still get it. young people think they're immune to not getting it. The problem is the young people are the hosts. So they're non-symptomatic but still can have the virus and have absolutely no symptoms. So that's where they're kind of all this social gatherings that they're all having and trying to be assholes about it all. It's really not helping if they then go near their auntie, their uncle, their mum, their dad, their grandparents, anyone that's not exactly healthy that knows them. They probably don't realise they're carrying the virus and then exposing the next person, but then that next person with a non-symptomatic human is still coming into contact with the virus, and then suddenly 2 weeks later that person's on a ventilator somewhere struggling to breathe. Like, that's the part that frustrates me about that stuff that's going on in Florida. I know it's spring break. It sucks for everybody that we have to cancel everything. I had a Lenny Kravitz concert in 2 weeks' time. So I've had the tickets for a year. I was so looking forward to seeing Lenny Kravitz over here. He can't come. Obviously, there's a travel restriction, but it's the social distancing thing too. So the concert's cancelled, like all the concerts around the world. So, you know, if he's being responsible and cancelling his whole tour, and then the next person's cancelling their tour, and all of, you know, Broadway and all of the theatre around the world has stopped working, these people, you know, with spring break and stuff, need to like adjust their plans and do something different. To go and go, no, screw it, we're all going to go and hang out on the beach in thousands, it's so irresponsible. And it makes me so mad because they're actually going to, they're increasing the chances of the USA turning into the numbers of Italy. And it's terrifying to watch what's going on in Italy. My sister-in-law is Italian, and I've been talking to her every couple of days because half her family's in Italy still. She's only lived here for 3 years with my brother. And she's absolutely devastated that they're just watching everybody drop like flies. And then on, 4 days ago, if they're so overwhelmed in their hospital system to treat people, that they made the call, if you're 80 or over and you get the virus, we can't help you. You'll just have to die. Can you imagine the government having to make that call? And that's because they're running out of all the things they need to treat it. They're running out of the supplies because our medical companies can't make the stuff quick enough for the number of cases. They had 500 people die in one day. Just one day. So, you know, that's what's coming to the US, that's what's coming to Australia. Because our governments have waited too long. It's such a shame. I am going to say, and I am a white person for anyone out there that wants to have a go at me, but old white men made these decisions. Stupid old white men that didn't listen to the scientists. They didn't listen to the scientists that said, do this, do that, do this, do that. That poor Dr. Fauci, who works with the current administration in America, he must go home and like lose 100 hours sleep every night, because he knows he is so stuck between a rock and a hard place. He has tried to get advice out to the American people the best he can, but his boss is also then saying the opposite thing up until 2 days ago. Trump's been blowing this off as not a big deal up until 2 days ago. But that's because they would be showing him graphs that the trajectory of Australia and America currently, we are on the same trajectory as Italy. And it all comes down to not shutting down our schools, not shutting down our public facilities and services and bars and you know, lucky your basketball, they were smart. They shut it down really quick and everyone was really shocked. But they did everybody a favour, believe me.
For real.
And but think about it. Our schools and our childcare centres are still open. My services are still open right now.
That's crazy.
Right now.
That's kind of hard for me to believe, being like they shut it down all in the United States, in America.
So you guys are one step ahead of us. You're one step ahead of us, but only that one little small step. So, I'm going to have to go in a second because I've got to get into my next meeting about everything.
Okay.
Because everything's changing every day. There's just constant updates and constant meetings, and my inbox is so overwhelmed with email, I can't even keep up with it because I'm in the meetings and I'm on the phone and every other thing. So it's very stressful for someone like me who has such responsibility, have all the responsibility to our children, our families, my staff, my own family. My own family's hardly seen me this week, and I feel like I'm a bit of a crabby bitch when I'm at home because I'm so stressed out. I don't want to deal with anyone else's rubbish.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got to put my game face on and be calm and together and everything else when I go back into the real world. You know what I mean? But I'm scared too. I'm genuinely scared. I'm scared about what's to come because I know, because I've seen the data. I've looked at the numbers. And people say, oh, that's a projection. Yeah, of a virus that's doing exactly what it's designed to do. It's not like we're talking about if I tripped over, I'm going to trip over because there's a big giant gaping hole at the end of the street that I'm about to walk into.
Exactly.
You know, maths doesn't lie. I keep saying to people on social media, maths doesn't lie. So everyone out there that's listening, I'm sorry if I've been super depressing, but I'm saying to you, take the precautions really seriously. Self-isolate where you can. Wash your hands for 30 seconds all the time. Wipe down your benches with hot soapy water if that's all you've got. For God's sake, preserve your toilet paper. Apparently that's an issue. And only buy a week's worth of food so that everybody else in the universe can get access to food too. I was heartbroken to think about all the elderly people that were caught off guard with that, and all the poor people who maybe only can buy like 2 or 3 days worth of food at a time. It was devastating to me to be watching a selfish assholes out there in my country and every other country go and hoard everything. For what? We never said we got a food shortage. We never said we've got a production shortage of supplies. That has never been an issue. The country will still run. Even in Italy, they still have supermarkets open. They still have pharmacies for medicine still open. Those things have never ever closed in any of these countries, even in China. So people have not got the information correct. No supermarkets are going to close. No pharmacies are going to close. So they need to start thinking about everybody together. The best thing you can do is socially isolate. Distance yourself if you have to go in public. Don't stand up right in someone else's face. If I was going on public transport anywhere at the moment, which I'm not, but if I was, I'd be wearing gloves. If you've got gloves, you can get gloves, any kind of gloves, I would be. Because I would be trying to remove my body's contact with any other surface, because the way the virus gets into us is apparently we touch it or we get sneezed on or it comes into contact with our skin, and then you and we automatically apparently touch our face more than we realise, and it gets in through your mouth, your nose and your eyes. They've said that is the most common way for it to enter the body.
Mm-hmm.
So, or someone sneezes on you and then you breathe it in. But yeah, the world is literally going to fall apart a little bit more than we thought it was. This will be a game changer for our governments too. You know what else I feel like it's really shown our governments? In every country other than China, we are so heavily reliant on China for so much of our stuff. They've cut down and stopped all the manufacturing in our own countries for things that didn't necessarily need to not be manufactured in our own countries. And we're so heavily reliant on China. So when China fell down and went, and it needed to go down into quarantine and isolation, it has had an impact on what can get to your part of the world, because China had to take a pause. And I'm like, and now we're so overstretched for our supplies for medical stuff that suddenly Trump's asking companies that don't normally make medical supplies but have the infrastructure to change it all up to make medical supplies, which is a smart thing to do. And so it's a good thing that they're doing that. But you know what? That's something we have to do over here too. we've got companies here that normally make lotions and things. They've stopped production of all that, and they're turning it to specifically hand sanitizer. And I think that started yesterday. So it's a good thing where we've got companies in our countries that can mobilize and help us to make the supplies that we need. But my concern is, in the future, I really think our governments need to have a good long look at when this is all finished. We've got 6 months of this. We're not going to be in isolation for 6 months, but our life as we know it is going to have to change, and the next 6 months are going to be really tough. I don't think I think the travel ban will go longer than June, which breaks my heart, but that's what my prediction is, that the information that comes across my desk, as you call it, the information I'm reading, the webinars that I'm in, where I'm in a government webinar thing, this is not going to be over in 2 weeks. This is going to be a 3 to 6 month thing. So everyone needs to prepare for that. I wouldn't be spending money on any dumb shit that you don't need. I would be keeping your money for essentials, for living, for basic bill paying, and for food. And then just don't go and buy the stores out. If everybody in the whole world did not go and buy more than what they need for a week, we'd all be fine. So I hope that everybody starts doing that everywhere. Fingers crossed. But thank goodness Trump's taking it seriously now. 3 months too late, but he's doing it now. I can't fault anything he's done in the last 48 hours. In fact, I would actually applaud the guy. My Prime Minister needs to do a catch-up. He's not quite where Trump is, and Jesus Christ, me saying that's a Christmas miracle. So, our Prime Minister needs to do a catch-up. But I'd say our schools will be closed on Monday or by next Friday. But the numbers do not lie. I'll keep saying it. Our numbers, the trajectory for Fridays for our COVID-19 cases was supposed to be 750. We're between 600 and 700 as of this morning, but the day's not over.
Wow.
There'll be more people today.
That's crazy.
So
so
we should have 4 times that number. In 2 weeks' time, we should have 4 times that number of cases here. So if the maths for the virus is the same, that's the same for America. Whatever the current numbers are for America, it will be 4 times that in 2.5 weeks.
Wow. That's just crazy to think of. And I know there's going to be a lot of stuff, just evolving, in the days to come. So we happy we got you to keep us up to date. And we're going to have a more in-depth show. You got me. I'm here and I'm putting all the information together. I get my information from reliable sources. I listen to the scientists. I talk to people who are in government. I can definitely give you an update whenever you want it, Tree. I hope everyone else is listening to me, and really I'm not trying to create panic. I'm trying to create awareness. Yeah. Everyone's got to think smarter. Trump did say this, and the French president, did say this earlier this week. We're working with an invisible enemy, and that's exactly what it is. We can't see it, we can't touch it, but it's going to knock us all out. It won't kill us. We're not all going to die. Only 1 to 2% of the population will die. But it's going to impact on us all economically if we keep spreading it. And you're going to get sick. And when you get sick, you're going to be feeling like you are dying, but you're not going to die. Mm-hmm. So, who the hell wants to get that kind of virus? I sure as hell don't. I know, right?
But that's the thing. We've all got to be smarter about our self-isolation and distancing so we protect each other from getting it. Because there's all these people out there who are walking around no symptoms. They are asymptomatic carriers. That's why it's spreading so quick. Because there's a heap of people out there that have it in their system and they don't even know it. And that's why the scientists keep going on and on and on about the testing. They want everybody to get the testing because they're trying to find where you all are that are running around with it on, in you. And with running out of the testing kits, that just absolutely kills it. So, anyway, I've got to go. Thank you, everybody, for listening to my information, and you
Thank you,
let me know,
Liz.
Tree, when you want me to give you an update from Australia. I'd say in a week I'll have a lot more information.
For sure. We're gonna tap in with you like next week, you know what I'm saying? And we got a lot of
All right.
feedback up in the chat, but we know you didn't have time to look at it, so we'll set a better
I'm
show up
so
next
sorry,
time.
everybody. I've got to rush into one of those damn meetings right now.
For sure, Liz. You have a good one, all right?
Yep, you all stay safe, and please wash your hands for 30 seconds. It's the best thing you can do. It's the best thing you can do.
Definitely. Have a good one out there, Liz.
Okay, I'll see you later, alligator.
Later. Yay. So that was Miss Liz Giles. You know, she got her own show right here on the Tree TV Radio Network. Liz Giles is a very well-traveled woman, very educated, you know, stays up to date on a lot of current events, politics, stuff like that. So we decided to give her own show on Tree TV Radio. One of her previous shows, she was doing a story covering that Quentin Bailey, that little dwarf dude, who had a lot of controversy on social media because they thought he was running a scam or whatever. And she covered that story real well. You can look down my list and probably find that. And we're going to bring Miss Liz Giles back next week so we can see if the numbers, the mathematics, like she say, with math is always correct. We'll see did it spread like it did. This is your friendly neighborhood partner, Mr. TreeTvRadio. I appreciate the people joining in. Black Cherubim, Black Diz Us. Shout out to 5 Star Kingdom for the donation. Playboy Mitty was popping with you, man. Who else was up in here? Y'all gave a lot of feedback, man. And had she been looking at chat, she would have been like interacting with y'all because, you know, Miss Liz Giles, she loved to talk. And she got a lot of information. 666 Productions was popping with you, man. And yeah, man, y'all gave some very informative feedback and stuff like that, man. I'm pretty sure the people out there that watch this video later on appreciate that. Teron Herring, James Anthony Collins. Shout out to everybody that joined the Shizzo. We're going to get another show cracking right after this one, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to open up the StreamYards for the people. You know how we get down. Maybe you can join this one, Mitty. I know you were trying to join that one last night, but I ended the show. I think I went live for like 6 hours. And y'all can also catch that Shizzo. Yay. You guys out there have a good one. Like I say, stay tuned for the next Liz Giles show if you enjoyed this show. And enjoy Liz Giles bringing all us the information from over there in Australia. Yay. Have a good one, party people, and a place to be. Peace.